Odds are, if you've ever had to travel anywhere far away, you did it on a plane. Despite only being around for about 100 years, our ability to fly is something the vast majority of us take for granted. After all, today we simply buy a ticket, go to the airport, and sit in a giant metal tube as it hurtles through the air at hundreds of miles per hour, all without a second thought. But have you ever really thought about all the science, designs, and planning that went into getting you from point A to point B safely? Probably not. In fact, since the air above us is viewed as this big open space, most of us don't think about the fact that the air up there can get pretty congested with other planes. This raises the very important question of, how do planes avoid each other when they are flying? The answer is not simple, and actually involves understanding the slow improvements in aviation technology that have occurred over the last century. Before you buckle up for takeoff, please subscribe to The Richest Airlines and activate those notifications. When the first aircraft started to be designed and flown in the early 1900s, they resembled nothing of the planes we use today. The first planes, like those designed by the Wright brothers, were nothing more than a wooden frame covered in fabric. They were incredibly slow and fragile, and there weren't very many of them. This was probably a good thing because we imagined pilots were so occupied trying to keep their flimsy airplanes in the air that they didn't have a lot of time to worry about running into someone else. Heading into the First World War, planes remained pretty basic, and being a pilot was definitely a high-risk job. During this time, the best and really only reliable way to avoid other planes was simply to use your eyes. In the 1920s and 30s, technological improvements came about that helped planes stay safer in the air and decrease the chances of colliding. This was probably a good thing as aircraft were getting faster, larger, and were increasingly used to carry passengers. The first big improvement involved the addition of reliable radios in the planes. While it's not a big deal today, 80 years ago, being able to talk to people on the ground or in other places was a major improvement when it came to safety. In the 1930s, radio was joined by radar. Again, today radar is a common technology used to help direct planes and pinpoint their location. However, back in the 1930s, it was a new invention that was developed secretly by various militaries as a way to detect enemy planes. Effectively used in World War II, radar became essential for tracking a plane's altitude and direction. In conjunction with radio, pilots flying up above could now be told where to fly safely and how close they were to other airplanes in the area. In today's modern world, those old technologies of radar and radio are still used to help keep planes safe up in the sky. Some agencies are now even using satellite-based communications to keep planes linked to ground controllers. However, the world is a far different place today than it was 60 or 70 years ago. Just in the airspace of the United States alone, the figures are mind-boggling. At any given time, there are an average of 5,000 planes in or around U.S. airspace. Over the course of a day, that means there are tens of thousands of planes flying around. Broaden this to the entire world, and it is said that there are at least 16,000 planes in the air at any one time. Most of these planes are flying at several hundred miles per hour and carrying dozens, if not hundreds, of passengers. With so many planes and so many people up in the air, you definitely need more than your eyes to avoid collisions. In fact, you need more than radio and radar to help out. So we've already gone over radio and radar as proven aids to help prevent collisions between planes. Yet in addition, today's pilots use a few other high and low tech solutions to improve safety. First off, you may not know that the sky is carved up into various highways that are designated for planes to fly in. Basically, you can't just fly from point A to point B in a straight line. No, you must use certain designated corridors that were established to help control the ever-growing number of planes in the sky. Now, if you're thinking that concentrating hundreds of planes into lanes increases the risk of collision, you're not totally wrong. To help alleviate that risk, planners schedule flight times to ensure planes are spaced out while they fly through the sky's highways. To add a further element of safety, eastbound planes fly at odd-numbered altitudes, while westbound flights naturally cruise at an even-numbered altitude. As a last resort to avoid collisions, modern planes are often equipped with a Traffic Collision Avoidance System, or TCAS. This device monitors the area around a plane, picking up the transponders of other flights. If the TCAS detects a plane on a potential collision course, it will alert pilots and tell them of the best action to take, such as increasing or decreasing altitude while looking out the windows for the possible plane approaching. At the same time, the TCAS in the other plane will also alert the crew to have them perform the opposite maneuver. Think of it as a high-tech cherry on a safety sundae that's been designed to keep you and your plane from colliding with another plane. So, how do airplanes avoid each other while they are flying in the sky? The answer, as you've seen, involves a bunch of different techniques and technologies that have been developed over the past 100 years. Pilots still use their eyes, but that has been augmented with radio and radar assistance. Flight plans and designated flight corridors have also been implemented. When something goes wrong and those fail, the TCAS steps in to avert a last-minute accident. Of course, all of this leads to the question of what will they think of next? Let us know what you think it will be in the comments below. Well, that's the end of our flight for today. Please put your chairs in their upright positions and don't forget your carry-on luggage. Of course, we have way more in-flight entertainment available for you, so be sure to check out some of our other videos and remember to subscribe to The Richest. We'll see you on our next flight. Bye-bye now.